Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one. Now, today we want to start building the VibeCoder Cafe. So, what is that? Okay, as we mentioned in day zero or our intro, I'm looking to build an online community that's free for people that just want to get into vibe coding. So, people that have never touched upon it, they've heard of AI, who hasn't heard of ChatGPT at the moment. So, whatever stage you're at, really, I want to build this in public so you can kind of see how easy it is from the very, very start all the way through to when we launch a community and you can come and join that. So the best way for me to build a vibe coding platform is to actually vibe code by myself. So this is what we're doing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just share my screen and I'm going to show you my kind of thought process from the very beginning. Now, we're not going to get too deep in this video around some of the more technical things, but what I wanted to sort of show you is two of the tools that we're going to be using. The first one is Claude. So it's another LLM similar to ChatGPT and also Google Gemini. So why are we going to use those two? Well, firstly, Claude, for me, and this is my personal preference, you may just, as you kind of take your own journey, you may find another preference. But for now, as of November 2025, for me, Claude is still the best in terms of coding. So it's the easiest for a newbie to come and get involved with. And I will show you how it all works. But it's not very good at design. So when it comes to product design and looking at UI, user interfaces, and UX, so user experience, it just doesn't do the job, where Google Gemini is much better at that. So the cost, I'll always try and talk about the cost of everything as we go through as well. So you can do this for free. So they both have free plans, but they are limited. So you're not going to be able to use as many tokens, and tokens are just an LLM's way of tracking usage. So if you want to start for free, if you just want to dabble, not a problem at all. You can get them both for free. I'm on the $20 a month plan for each. So I spend $40, which again, I don't think is much for what we're going to be building and what I'm using it for. So for me, 40 quid, dig deep, people, get involved. Okay, let me share my screen. Excuse me. Okay, so this is Claude. If you've never seen it, now it's worth pointing out as well that there'll be some people that are saying, Mark, why are you not using Claude Code? For me, Claude Code, the difference, one is a terminal-based coding editor, trying to keep it in simple terms. This is much more text-based. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So it's claude.ai if you want to find the domain. Say go and sign up for free. So what do I do? So my first interaction really is to try to scope out to put as much information. The more information you put into an LLM, the better response you're going to get. I mean, you've probably all heard of prompt engineering isn't really such a thing anymore, but you do want to give as much detail as you possibly can. Now, naturally, there's going to be some Q&A anyway, so the LLMs will ask you for more information. So this is my initial build. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so you can read it. So for me, I wanted to build an online community. I did some domain searches. I did find that vibecodercafe.com was free, so I bought that. And the aim for me is to really help other people that want to get into vibe coding. I struggled when I got started. It was newer a year ago. There wasn't as many resources. I think now there are too many resources, and you kind of get bogged down with a lot of technical jargon and people that are at probably 2 years advanced. You could just get lost. And I think I just want to bring it back to basics, get people building. So for me, I wanted to lean into the cafe theme. Now, why did I want to do that? Well, what I'd always say is, like with any app, there are different ingredients. So if you're building an app, you might use different tech stacks. So you might use different technologies from one app to another. And I think that's the same with a coffee, whether you're a cappuccino person or a flat white or mocha, they're all coffees, but have different ingredients. Okay. So I want to really keep it simple. And that's why I wanted to use this analogy, but also I wanted to create this safe space. So if you're walking into a cafe with other people that are interested in the same thing as you, that's a safe space. people here are not going to be experienced developers. There'll be people that are, I'm a year into vibe coding. There'll be people that are slightly ahead of me as well. So we all want to learn from each other. So there's no sort of stupid questions. You are going to fail at things. You're going to create some messy code. You're going to have to debug. These are all natural things that we're going to do together. We'll do it in this build as well. So, I'm not perfect, but actually that's how you learn. So you'll kind of work out things that work for you, things that don't. Okay. But vibe coding is just that. It's about the vibe. It's not perfect. We're not building Oracle or SAP or, huge applications here. We want minimal viable products, MVPs. Okay. So we're leaning into this cafe theme. I wanted to use analogies that help non-coders realize that it's not as complicated as it used to be. It's much simpler to build things now. I want people to follow the basics. Don't worry about the fear of getting started. You're going to spill the beans. Again, leaning into the coffee beans. I also want to incorporate a Google Meet. So I want to run some live hangouts here. So whilst this build is going to go onto YouTube, once the actual community is built, I'll run live sessions probably twice a week, depending on demand, so that people can come in, show what they've been building, ask questions. You're going to get stuck, and rather than trying to scour YouTube and find the answers, we'll find the answers together. So I really want to create that space for people to come and ask questions. As people do more things within the community, we will create coffee beans as rewards. So there's a kind of gamification. And, full transparency here, I'm going to create something called like a tip jar. So people can contribute if they want to. Now, there's no obligation. I'm not here to make money, but if I can earn something, I can use more tools. I can trial lots of different AI tools and then come back to you. So I'm working. I don't kind of need the money in that sense, but if I want to do more and want to show you more, then people that can donate can. But absolutely no obligation. This is not a money-making community in that sense. I'm not here to set up a school community or upsell you. I also don't want this channel to become a promotional sponsored videos all the time, because I just think I don't want to be pushing any product that I'm not comfortable with, because there are so many AI apps. They come and go. For me, everything we're going to show you are leaders in what they do, but they're actually very low cost. So aside from the $20 for these two tools, the things like, we'll get onto this later, but like the deployment tools we're going to use, the database tools, they're all free. Okay, so you literally can build an app. If you didn't want to pay you the $20 here, you can build an app for free. Okay, so just get started. Just get over your fear of thinking it's too complicated. And then I asked Claude just to scope this out for me. So I wanted to keep that design and experience like a user's walked into their favorite coffee shop with friends. That's what I'm looking to build. Now, what Claude will do, or any LLM worth its salt, will come back to you with questions. So they'll want to kind of just delve down a little bit more. So I'm not going to go into this in too much detail. I don't want to read through this with you. But really, we're looking to define the customer journey. What experience are people going to have? So as an example, who's the audience here? Is it complete beginners or people who may have dabbled? No, I think it's both. I think it might be people that are, under a year in their journey, or maybe have never started coding. So that's kind of the range. The age range here actually for me is irrelevant. So it could be a teenager. I'm closer to 50 than I am 40 without giving away my age. And I've got the bug as well. So age doesn't really matter. But it's all about this walking experience. It's a homely, friendly cafe style place to learn. As I mentioned, we've got live hangouts. I'm going to create some learning content. So some very short lessons, just some very key concepts around version control. There's terms that might put you off, okay, but I don't want them to put you off. So I want to break them down to make them really easy. So whether we're looking at IDEs and deployments and databases, they sound scary, but they're really not. and AI just makes it very simple to connect them all now. So it's getting better and better as well. Tech stack's another one as well. So we're going to look at what are the tech stacks for this. So that's something that I'll come on to a little bit later. But I did ask, it's always good to ask the LLM. So in this case, Claude, to say, look, Claude, that we've scoped this out here. We've got our product development plan. This is what we want to build. This is what we want it to look like, who our customers are. Just do that planning up front. It's well worth spending the time doing that. And then saying, now acts as a CTO, what's the tech stack we need to build that? Okay. And the tech stack doesn't really matter, I'll be honest. So I haven't learned to code, but I've learned tech stacks off the back of this. And even in this one, there's a couple of things that I've never used before. I'll come on to that in a sec. So it's all about the user journey. The Learning Hub will be the menu. So you can kind of look at a menu in a cafe and go, well, actually, I want to learn a bit more about that. Just short bite-sized pieces of learning. The barista counter. So that's where I'll be doing the live sessions once this is built. So again, very friendly, pull up a store, join a live session, show your own code, all very down to earth. Then, okay, so then after that, I was just kind of refining what we'll be using. So we are just going to be using Claude Gemini 3 here. We're not going to use anti-gravity. So anti-gravity is, we're going to use something called VibeCoder. So VibeCoder is the IDE. That's kind of like, I would say, the kitchen. So that's where you put everything together. The LLM is going to be your chef. So you're going to tell it what to do, what to make, but it's going to come up with how to put that together. Everything is hosted in the kitchen, but this will all come to fruition as we carry on. So just trying to break everything down and make it much simpler. But yeah, anti-gravity is Google's version of VibeCoder. For now, stay away from it. I've dabbled with it. It's a brand new system. For me, it's a beta product. It forgets instructions. It's too complicated. It gives up too much information. I just don't bother with it yet. Have a look at it. It's free, so it doesn't actually cost anything if you want to play with it. But to build a useful app at the moment, I don't think it is too confusing and you'll just get lost with it. So avoid it for now. Okay, so this is where I asked it to act like a CTO, and it's recommended this tech stack. So again, I've built other apps already. So Next, Superbase, I've used. Tailwind helps with consistent styling. So again, I know this may look like overload, but you don't need to know too much about them. I've never used this, ShadCN, and I've never used Ko-Fi either. So again, every time I build something new, you'll learn new things, and that's just going to take a bit of time, but you don't need to actually learn the language themselves. And then finally, we'll look at the MVP scope. So this is what it kind of tells us to build. I will say one thing I find Claude does, for example here, like it's saying that phase 3 will be a month 2. Like we're going to get this whole community built within. Typically, if I was building on my own without filming it, I'd get this done in under a week. Probably going to take a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, just because I want to film this and answer questions in the comments. By the way, if you're enjoying this, please do give it a like and subscribe. I want to help as many people as possible. But get your comments in. So if you think there's something I've not quite explained, or if there's questions you have, they might be coming up in other lessons, but I don't mind answering them as we go through. So feel free to fire any questions at me. And then it's just, building public strategy, GitHub, something we'll set up in the next lesson. So the things we'll set up in the next lesson are VibeCoder, because you're going to need that to create all your files and code. And then GitHub is a place where you store your files offline. So if your computer crashes, something goes terribly wrong, you accidentally run something that deletes lots of your files in VibeCoder, you can recover that on GitHub. So that's something called version control. Again, it'll be a mini lesson that I put together. So version control is just a way to go back and get back to a previous state. So then it just asked a few more questions. And then it told me to go and buy the domain, which I've done. So at this point, Claude is like, right, we're okay, we're ready. It's got enough information so we can start to go and build. Okay, but before I wanted to do that, it told us how to set up this project. I'm going to come back to that after we've installed VS Code together. I'm going to do that from scratch and GitHub. I skipped this because I wanted to show you the design, show you what it's going to look like. So you're going to get the first look of what VibeCoder Cafe is going to look like. And this is where Google Gemini comes into its own. So I did ask, for the sake of this video, Claude to design the homepage. And then I give the exact same instructions to Google Gemini. So I'll show you the difference and why I like using both. So let me show you the design mockup here. So it's always going to give you the code. I'm going to make that smaller so you can see the whole page. And then it shows you what it has designed. So this is Claude's version of the platform, which is okay. It's functional. You know, it has a few, none of this will work. So we haven't built the pages behind it yet, but in terms of a mock-up from a home page. So it's the menu, the live sessions, the community, and about us. I'll create a trailer here just to give a bit more context of what VibeCoder Cafe is later. I mean, it's okay, minor animation, but to be honest, it's a bit boring. It's a bit bland. Okay, so this is where I switch over to Gemini, give it the same instructions. So if I make that a bit smaller. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. So much more well-rounded. In terms of design, it's got 0 experience required. Yeah, it's got nice buttons that move. It shows a little code window here. Shows other people in the community, a much better how it works button. A simple explainer, what is vibe coding? So yeah, sort of leaning into the cafe theme again. This will be the learning menu. So again, short bite-sized learning sessions. And by doing that, you will earn 10 beans for doing this one, 30 beans for that because it's a bit longer. And if you're building something from scratch, then you'll earn more XP. So it's just a fun way that, you know, we'll try and gamify the platform. And by the way, both of these were one-shotted. And when we say one shot, that means just give it one instruction. There's been no back and forth on design. This is just what it's come up with. So if you give it good enough initial instructions, then it can come up with something really cool. But actually, it's very smart in terms of coming up with things anyway. So yeah, just here's, you know, again, I didn't even give it this instruction to collect emails. So we'll create a newsletter at some point. I'm not ready yet, but yeah, so that's what it did. So the difference between this and this for me is night and day. It's so much better. So that's probably enough as I want to show you now. I don't want this to go too long. In the next lesson, we'll definitely look at just getting you set up. So first thing, get you set up with a couple of key things, which is VS Code and GitHub. Get yourself set up with free accounts, or if you want to pay the $20 for Claude and Gemini. In fact, if I was going to say, if you only had $20 to spend, depending on where you are in the world, do it with Claude, because we're going to be spending most of our time interacting with Claude and not Google Gemini. And Google Gemini has a free plan. And in fact, you could download Google AI Studio, which at the moment is trying to push Gemini 3. So I think it has some free, it has an upgraded free plan there. So you can play with things there, but I'll let you kind of look at that at your own time. Let's not overcomplicate things. Okay, great stuff. Well, look, I'm going to leave it there. Please do join me on our next day. We'll get you set up, and then what we'll do, we'll start adding some code and some files. I'll tell you more about the engineering landscape in terms of front end and back end and databases. Again, I'm going to make this very simple. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, please. I would love to hear your thoughts. Say I'm not a teacher. I'm just somebody that is trying to help others here. So if you're getting value out of this, drop us a like, and I'll see you in the next video.